what is periodization? So in periodization is basically planning the phases in which we build up a full program for you. And the first thing we do is to look at it in a whole big picture. So most of the time we plan it over 1 year, or it can be slightly shorter depending on how long and how much you can commit to that program as well, right? And we also have flexibility in terms of the program. It can be general, it can be specific. So in a macro cycle, basically it's 1 year. We break it down into different parts, which is a mesocycle, so 3 to 4 weeks in each cycle. And then lastly, we break it down even more within that 3 to 4 weeks. We break it down into a microcycle, which is for 1 week. So let's say maybe you want to train 3 times a week, then it is 3 times in that microcycle. Let's put it in the context for you so that it's easier to understand. So let's say in 6 months you want to take part in a dance competition. What should you do to get there, right? So essentially you want to be able to sustain yourself on performance. You want to survive the performance without, going out of breath. Number 2, you want to perform the tricks that you want to perform, and also with enough strength to sustain it without getting tired. At the same time, you want to have mobility and flexibility in your body to perform those movements with flow or explosively, depending on what your choreography is all about. Or even if you're doing a dance battle, then what do you want out of the dance battle, right? Sometimes it is freestyle as well. So if it's freestyle, it's your body prepped to go into the extreme sometimes when it comes to preparing your body for it. So the steps in which we would take to prepare a dancer when you're going into this type of scenarios is, the first thing we'll always look at first is your cardio, right? Your aerobic capacity, which means your heart, how much can you sustain, how good are you at sustaining it, and can you last, right? So we'll create exercises in which we actually test your heart rate so that we get your heart rate strong enough to be able to sustain throughout that period. So for most dance competitions, performances normally is about 1.5 minutes, about 90 seconds, and slightly more depending on choreography and how complex it is, right? So training you to be able to sustain that will be number 1 priority. So keeping and making sure that your heart can sustain, right, without ever getting tired. Maybe after the 90 seconds of intense movement you get tired, that's fine. Okay, so we are aiming and setting the benchmark for that. The second thing that we'll do is to move into strength training after, right? So strength building basically is that we'll start building you up in terms of like areas that need development and areas that needs more strength, right? So let's say you've already been doing a lot of dance, but you find that, why is my movement not strong enough to have such impact? So I want to throw my hand, but I want to show that I've got actually power in my move. So how do I create that power? So right, so when you want to create the power, is actually to have strength, and also at the same time be able to control that strength. So we will teach you how to control your strength doing a certain exercise, and also learning how to be able to be in control of your body when you have that strength. Okay, then we move on to the next part, which is muscular endurance. So muscular endurance is different from strength. Muscular endurance means now with that strength, I am going to push you through your paces to make sure that you can sustain this for repeated amounts of times. Or maybe I want you to repeat this over a period of 1 minute. How long can you sustain it over 1 minute, right? So if I ask you to just keep doing squat jumps, are you able to sustain squat jumps properly, maintaining form, maintaining good structure of the body for 1 minute? If you're unable to do that, then basically maybe your quad muscles, your glute muscles, your hamstrings are not able to support that movement. So you want to be able to train up those muscle groups to be able to sustain those movements. And then we move on to the last part, which is the most tiring part of the training, which is power and speed. For power and speed, basically you need to be well conditioned for us to be able to train you in that area. So why is power and speed so important? Because that helps you with your explosive movements. Let's say you're doing a jump, or for ballet you're doing a jeté across the floor. For contemporary dancers, you want to do a controlled slow movement, and at the same time from there you want to snap into a fast movement. Then you want to be able to have control of your joints and also be able to control the muscles when you want to explode and control that movement. You don't want to be out of control, because if you're out of control, It is your body controlling you, not you controlling your body for that fast movement, right? And then the final part is basically the recovery or taper. So recovery or taper does not mean that you totally stop exercising. No, we actually reduce the intensity of the exercise to prepare you to get into competition mode, right? So you're actually going to be rehearsing more. Your body is going to be more tired from rehearsals because you're definitely going to be performing a lot more on stage, right? More technical skills, more. And then at the same time, we just want to be able to maintain you so that you can be able to sustain throughout that performance, right? So one example, let's say the V up, right? For the V up, you actually want to build up first core stability. How do you build up the core stability is to do your crunches, to do your leg lifts, do a little bit of back strengthening. You could do squat movements. You could do hip mobility exercises, arm mobility exercises if you feel that you do not have enough control of the body. Once you have that done, then you want to go on into faster movements, right? So once that's sustained, then how do you build it up even more, right? To build it up even more, we can basically get you to do other movements like speed skaters, if you have ever heard of it before. You can do jump squats, you can do curtsy lunges actually. You can even throw those exercises into that picture, right? So it is basically figuring out what do you need more, what do you need less of. And at the same time, we also look at the imbalances and make sure we balance that out before we get you into the skill development aspect, right? But for us, because we do not train you in the technical dance aspect, we train you more in the strength aspect. So how do we get you stronger without losing the aesthetic, right? So it's to always understand your aesthetic and where your goal is as a dancer and where do you want to get to, right? And from there we work backwards and break it down for you so that it's easier to understand and also improve on, right? So if you feel that I'm not gaining enough strength, my jump heights are not good enough, my flexibility isn't there, my hip mobility isn't very good, then if you're telling yourself this, or you see you watch your own videos and you realize that why is my movements in certain areas not very good, then these are certain things that I need to do. So let's say for shoulders, if you're rounded forward a lot, what can I do? First, you want to actually open up the shoulder joint, so you want to do some shoulder mobility exercises. Alright, after you finish the shoulder mobility exercises, then you want to actually strengthen your back muscles so that you can actually open up the chest. Right? And once you've opened up the chest, now you can stretch your chest even more to actually make sure that your chest is freed up. And once you can do that, now you're more upright. Right? So this is one example of actually just talking about your shoulder joint and how do we deal with it. Okay? So as a whole, it can be quite complicated sometimes, but you want to break it up into the aerobic conditioning, strength building, muscle endurance, power and speed, and then taper and recovery. And then you keep repeating that cycle again and again and again, and you realize your ability will start from here and it naturally starts going up. It goes down a little bit and it goes up, goes down a little bit and goes up. So no matter what, you're always on a uptrend. But of course, if you're overtraining and pushing too hard, then your body is gonna go into fatigue. And when you actually go into fatigue, the downfall of that is that number one, you're gonna find that you're not be able to perform anymore. You can't perform as well. So what you want to do is actually to rest more. Rest is part of exercise. If you do not rest enough, you're not gonna be able to perform as well. So always take note, rest is important as well. And at the same time, strength training is important as well. So all in all, conditioning with rest and knowing your body, understanding your body, plays a big role in helping you achieve your goals. And that's periodization.